Did you just turn me down? You turned everyone down.
All right. What we do have for you right now is an interview pre-taped at this past weekend's RWA Fury 4 with D'arcy Dixon. Here's to me.
You turned me back up.
Hey guys, it's Sorg here again before another event that we're doing here with Sorgatron Media. This time it's RWA Fury 4 here in West Newton, PA. I'm here with our guest at this time, D'arcy Dixon, joining us for the first time on the show. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Thanks for being on here. Now, it's always great to see. One thing I like about RWA is we get to see women's wrestling, which seems to be really lacking here in the Pittsburgh area. It's nice that we do have this spot to do that. First, where are you hailing from? Like, where you come from?
I am from Asheville, North Carolina.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, is there more women's wrestling going on down there?
You know, I don't know how to compare it because all I know about Pennsylvania so far is this show. And then, of course, I came up for last week or earlier this month. So, I mean, I wouldn't say there's a lot, but, you know, I stay fairly busy. Actually not in the Asheville area, but in North and South Carolina, I stay fairly busy.
Good. So how long have you been wrestling? How'd you get started?
Well, it's kind of a weird story how I got started in wrestling. I took a route I don't think most people do. I was very interested in it and couldn't really find anyone to train me. And then it was it was before the time that Resistance Pro started. But when Resistance Pro started, they kind of like set out a tweet that was like, if you're interested in being a valet or anything like that, send your stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I already was friends with some independent wrestlers that were sending their stuff, so I was like, well, that's something that I could do with no experience. Not necessarily valet, but one of the things was ring girls. And actually, one of the pieces of advice I got was like, you probably can't valet because you don't have experience, but send them your stuff and they might let you be a ring girl. So I sent them my stuff, some pictures and stuff, and they asked me to cut a promo, which I had never done before. So they didn't even tell me about what. So I just cut like this, probably the worst promo ever, and they probably still have it, and they're probably going to use it against me. But they gave me a call back, and the feedback I got was, we see something there, and we'd love for you to keep working and keep sending us your stuff. And so I just kept cutting promos and hoping that I'd get a spot, and I guess I did get a spot. And when I started going up there, I wanted to wrestle, like I really did, but there's just, anyone that tries to get into wrestling knows it's not exactly easy to find a good trainer. So Raven just kept telling me, like, if you're going to be doing this, you need to train. And he was right. Like, he was like, you're on a fairly big show, you need to get trained. So he hooked me up with Lodi, and I started training with him, and I trained with him for, I guess I started in April of this year. I started training with Ric Flair's daughter, Ashley. And she's a very talented athlete, so I feel like we had a good chemistry, and we were able to get a lot done in a short period of time. And the rest is just, Lodi got me set up with my first match, and I've been wrestling since, and I've since been able to wrestle for Resistance Pro, as you know. So, it's kind of like I got the job before I did the training, so I kind of had to, like, on the back end, work really, really hard to earn it. And I still am.
Excellent. So Resistance Pro, pretty big deal. Billy Corrigan's fed, if people don't know. That's really been getting a lot of traction, getting a lot of noise out there.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I love being a part of it. If you're on the outside looking in, you don't really get a sense, but in a lot of promotions, it's just people come in and then they leave.
Yeah.
It's like, but there, I honestly, like, people refer to it as the R Pro family, and to a certain extent, it kind of is. Like, I look forward to going up there, and we support each other. And I think it at least has that. Everybody that's up there, I feel like, really believes in it. So I think that makes a difference, hopefully.
Now, you've been here, I think it was, your third month in a row here with RWA, something like that? I know I've seen you here.
Yeah, I think it's the third time I've been up. Yeah.
So how are you? We're kind of out here in kind of the backwoods of Pennsylvania here.
Well, I've told everyone, like, that I've talked to about the crowd here, like, no matter what the numbers are, it feels like a big crowd, and they're really passionate about it. So I always really look forward to coming up here because I know when I come out, the crowd is going to be there and really into the matches, and that's what I like about it.
Awesome. I was very surprised. I got to go out to National Pro Wrestling Day a few weeks ago, a big event, a lot of guys on the show. We talked a lot about it. And it was really cool to kind of see all the trends going on in pro wrestling from different groups, including Resistance Pro. You were on there in a mixed tag.
Yeah.
And I know there's been a little bit of controversy over that going on. There's a little bit of discussion.
Yeah.
But not just yours, but in general, there's this interesting conversation that's been coming up about intergender wrestling and just all around, right? And I know I was excited to see some of it because I know, friends of ours, watching Anarchy Pro, seeing like Rachel Summerlin down there and everything, and it was really cool to see a few different takes on that. What's your take on it? Just straight up intergender wrestling as it is.
I mean, I don't know if your question needs to be more specific, but I mean, I'm all for it. I enjoyed the match, but I mean, I guess it depends on what aspects of it you exactly are.
Well, and not just your match. I mean, there was comments on, I think, on the same, like the first match of the card that you were on, there was like a tag team match with a girl on there. And I've seen comments of like, oh, it just looks like they're beating up women, is the comment that I'm seeing. And again, not just your match. This has been from a couple of them. I thought the first match was great. I thought, a lot of the intergender stuff was really good. It wasn't just, it was competitive,
Yeah.
And there's a lot of talk, like I know I've heard someone in wrestling saying, the guys taking bump for girls, that's not a cool thing.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that.
And then the other way too of just girls looking like they're just getting beat up by the guys.
Well, I feel like if I were to go head to head and fight Jay Bradley or Robert Anthony, I should not look like it's easy.
Yeah.
I mean, but at the same time, I am making the decision to do it, so whatever happens to me once I'm in there is kind of, it should be realistic. So I don't have a problem with it myself, being beat up by a guy at all, as long as I would have much more problem with going in there and cleaning house.
Yeah.
Because that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Now, from their perspective, I don't know how they would feel. I don't know how they feel. Well, actually, I do know that they didn't have. It's hard to, I don't know how every man would feel taking a bump for someone my size or someone such as myself, because then, the next person they may wrestle may say, I don't want to wrestle you. You lay down, for a girl. But I know that I felt like in the match I was with Resistance Pro that it was a very, I was on equal footing with them as far as putting the match together. They didn't make me feel like I was less of a person. They were like, how can we make this make sense?
Good. And I know there was a pretty good. I saw some of your tweets afterwards. What the comment was, the women looking weak, and there's some pictures of some of the moves that you pulled off in the match.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's. I mean, I should look weaker than them. I saw, I hate to say, but I did look at some of the comments, and there were some comments that were like, in the other match, which I didn't get to see, but I would have loved to see it. I love watching other women wrestle, and I would have loved to have seen that match, but unfortunately I was in the back. And it was probably a great match. It had great feedback as well, but we were trying to, that we weren't trying to be like them. And I know a lot of people said, well, the difference was the girls in that match, which I didn't see, held their own more. And I don't know who was in that match or really anything about it other than the fact, Thunder Kitty and I were in the ring with Jay Bradley and Robert Anthony, who I have an incredible amount of respect for. And if you were to say, we look like we were outclassed by them, that's fine. They're incredible. So it's we can't, it's not that there was a difference in our talent level. Thunder Kitty and I are, well, I can't speak for her, but I think she's fairly new, not as new as I am. But there's going to be a difference. But I don't know other than that. I know our the way we worked it was a little different, and I know people had some issues with the finish, but I felt good about it.
Good.
Yeah.
It definitely was an interesting look at what's going on in Resistance Pro. Seeing that. And again, I was really glad to see all the different styles. You guys brought something different than the other intergender match and the other matches in general. I thought it was a really good showcase all around for that day. So excellent. So let's lighten it up a little before we get out of here. We have this question that we ask everybody.
Okay.
So tell me, if you were a vegetable, what kind of vegetable would you be?
You ask every person this?
Yes, even Shane Taylor last month.
Okay, so I have a question to ask you first.
Okay.
Why do you ask every person this question?
This is not my question. This is a question submitted by one of the other Mayhemers.
Okay.
This is kind of like a personality test.
Okay, if I were a vegetable, what kind of vegetable would I be? I would be Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts.
No one ever eats the Brussels sprouts. So I'd be safe. Be safe for a while.
All right, that's good. That's good. So tell me, where? Hold on. Tell me. It just kind of all hit me at once. Excellent. So tell me, where can people see you coming up, and where can they find you online? Anywhere else? How can they get a hold of you and see you and check
Well, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at D_D'arcy Dixon because I have apostrophe in there that everybody leaves out. Facebook, same thing, D'arcy Dixon. And I'm going to be in Chicago again soon. I'm not exactly sure when, but their next show coming up. I'm not sure if I'm going to be there next weekend, but their next show. And I'm all over North and South Carolina. So you'll see me.
Excellent. Go check her out, D'arcy Dixon. Thanks for joining us here on with RWA on the Wrestling Mayhem Show. Back to the studio.
Thanks, Sorg, for that great interview we had with D'arcy Dixon back at RWA this past weekend. Very, very interesting talks, and it was a great interview.